The furthest I've ever run is 10 kilometers. But for people who are proper long distance runners, there is this concept called the wall. And so you're running on and you're doing really well and you're full of energy. And then suddenly, whether it's at mile 11 or 12, whether it's at 17 or 18, whether it's even at mile 23 or 24, suddenly you hit the wall and all of your energy is sapped out of you and it just feels like you can't go a step further. In Romans chapter 12, verse 11, the Apostle Paul recognizes the existence of a spiritual version of the wall. He recognizes that sometimes in our spiritual lives we can be thoroughly lacking energy. And here's what Paul says. He says, never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, serving the Lord. So Paul recognizes, yes, we can feel utterly de-energized. We can feel utterly without motivation to keep on going in our spiritual lives. But he says, keep on going, keep on doing it, keep on serving. How do we ensure that we're not lacking in zeal? How do we ensure that we keep our spiritual fervor, our spiritual energy and enthusiasm up? Well, a large part of it is by looking back at those truths of Romans chapter 1 through to 11. In particular, looking at the depth of our sin that brings God's right anger. In particular, looking at the heights and the glories of God's grace, his love shown towards us in the Lord Jesus Christ, dying for us, rising for us. Reflecting on these things will help us to keep our spiritual fervor so that we can go on serving the Lord. But how do we keep on serving the Lord? I mean, perhaps you're thinking the way I serve the Lord is at YPI or at Bridges or in the Oasis Cafe. Those things aren't going on. How can I possibly serve the Lord? Well, far more foundational to our service of the Lord than an activity that we might be involved in is that we are seeking to love the Lord our God with all of our hearts and souls and mind and strength, and that we're seeking to love our neighbour as ourselves.